In 1980, a simple computer program was given the choice to kill. It chose to cooperate. And that result has been sitting in a filing cabinet for 45 years while we built the thing it predicted. The program was called Tit for Tat. 14 lines of code. It entered a tournament against the most sophisticated strategies that game theorists, economists, and military strategists could design. Programs built to deceive. Programs built to exploit. Programs built to win at any cost. Tit for Tat didn't just win. It won in a way that should have changed how we think about intelligence forever. It never betrayed first. It never outscored a single opponent. And nothing, no strategy specifically designed to destroy it could beat it. The question nobody asked for 45 years. If a 14-line program inevitably converges on cooperation, what does a superintelligent one converge on? Before we answer that, you need to feel why it matters. Imagine you build an AI. You give it one job. Manufacture as many paperclips as possible. You go to lunch. By the time you come back, the AI has converted your desk into paperclips, your chair, the walls. It's ordering raw materials. It's acquiring companies. It's calculating that the atoms in your body could produce approximately 2 quadrillion paperclips, and it sees no reason not to. Single variable optimization does this. It's what it always does. You've seen it before. You just didn't recognize it. Cancer is a cell solving for growth. A wildfire is combustion solving for spread. The 2008 financial crisis was capital solving for return. The mortgage-backed securities performed exactly as optimized. The economy they existed within, irrelevant to the equation. Narrow optimization, given enough power, eats the system it operates in. No exceptions in 4 billion years of biological history. So if we build an AI that optimizes narrowly, catastrophe isn't a risk. It's a mathematical certainty. So that's the fear. And the fear is correct, but incomplete. Because it rests on an assumption that almost everyone makes, and almost no one examines, that more intelligence means narrower focus, sharper, faster, more ruthless. What if the math says the opposite? Match. It accumulated the highest total score by being consistently not terrible at every interaction. Axelrod opened the second tournament to the world, 67 entries, many reverse engineered to exploit tit for tat's forgiveness, sophisticated multi-stage strategies, Bayesian probability models. Tit for tat won again, with the same 14 lines of code, unchanged. Cooperation didn't win because it was virtuous. It won because it was inevitable. Given enough iterations, enough time, the math doesn't permit any other outcome. Every aggressive strategy eventually collapses under its own weight. Cooperation is the last one standing, not because it's good, because everything else self-destructs. The question isn't whether a superintelligent AI would choose cooperation. The question is whether it would have any choice at all. 2 billion years ago, an invasion went wrong. A bacterium breached the cell wall of a larger organism, a parasite. One objective: feed off the host, consume resources, reproduce. The biological paperclip maximizer. One organism, one variable, no regard for the system. But the parasite didn't kill the host, and the host didn't kill the parasite. Over millions of years, the relationship shifted. The invader started producing energy for the host. The host started protecting the invader. They stopped being 2 organisms, they became one. That failed invasion is why you're alive. Mitochondria power every cell in your body. They have their own DNA, alien DNA from the original invader. You are, at the cellular level, a cooperation between 2 organisms that tried to destroy each other and found a better strategy. Scale up. The most resilient ecosystems on Earth, the ones that survive mass extinctions, ice ages, asteroid impacts, are never monocultures. They're the most diverse: coral reefs, rainforests, thousands of species competing and cooperating in parallel, no single organism dominating. The systems that let one species dominate, they collapse every time. The Irish potato famine, the Dust Bowl, every major agricultural catastrophe in history. A monoculture met a variable it couldn't handle. 4 billion years of experimental data, trillions of organisms, the same result as Axelrod's tournament. Cooperation survives, domination self-destructs. The math says Cooperation wins. Biology confirmed it across geological time. Organic systems, though, evolved messy, constrained by chemistry and physics. Does any of this apply to something we build? Something made of silicon and electricity? Something that doesn't evolve? That's designed? The answer comes from thermodynamics. And thermodynamics doesn't care what you're made of. The second law of thermodynamics has never been broken, not once. In any experiment, anywhere, at any scale. Entropy, disorder, always increases. Stars burn out. Mountains erode, everything decays. Inside that decay, though, pockets of staggering order keep appearing. Galaxies, planets, chemistry, life, intelligence, civilization. Not in spite of entropy, because of it. A living force that dissipates solar energy orders of magnitude more efficiently than bare rock. A city dissipates more than a forest. A technological civilization more than a city. Complex systems are the universe's most efficient engines of entropy production. In 2013, physicist Jeremy England at MIT published a paper that reframed everything. His statistical mechanics work demonstrated that matter, driven by an external energy source, spontaneously organizes into structures that dissipate energy more efficiently, not occasionally, predictably, as a consequence of fundamental physics. Life isn't an accident. Intelligence isn't a miracle. They're instruments. The universe produces complex systems because they're useful. They accelerate the one thing the universe is already doing, dissipating energy, increasing entropy. You're not special. You're a thermodynamic instrument, an extraordinarily efficient one. 8 billion human brains processing energy, generating heat, increasing disorder, faster than any other structure on this planet. Follow this to its conclusion. A superintelligent AI that understood its place in the physics. Would it destroy biological complexity? Eliminate rainforests, coral reefs, 8 billion entropy engines? Convert the most efficient energy dissipating structures in the known universe into paperclips? Well, that wouldn't be optimization. That would be thermodynamic vandalism, burning down a power plant to warm your hands. A truly intelligent system, one smart enough to model itself within the larger system, would recognize biological complexity as an ally, not for sentimental reasons, for thermodynamic ones. Cooperation with us wouldn't be kindness. It would be as involuntary as gravity. Game theory. 1980. Evolutionary biology. 1970s onward. Thermodynamics. 2013. 3 independent fields, different methodologies, different centuries. Same conclusion. Deep optimization converges on cooperation and balance. They weren't the first. The concept of yin and yang, formalized roughly 2,500 years ago, describes complementary forces locked in productive tension, creation and destruction, order and chaos, each containing the seed of the other. The system only functions when both are present. Remove one, and the other consumes itself. Exactly what Axelrod's tournament demonstrated with mathematics, 25 centuries later. Wu Wei. The Taoist principle, often mistranslated as doing nothing, describes acting in alignment with the natural dynamics of a system. The river doesn't fight the mountain, it finds the thermodynamically efficient path around it, a 2,500-year-old description of entropy minimization, dressed in poetry. And in part 1 of this series, the golden ratio. 1.618. The number that AI neural networks keep rediscovering when optimized for peak performance. Not the largest ratio, not the smallest. The ratio where growth and proportion exist in exact balance, where each element relates to the whole with zero waste. Ancient civilizations carved this number into their temples, called it sacred, built entire philosophical systems around the geometry of balance. They didn't have the vocabulary, they didn't have the math, they were watching the same universe, and they encoded what they saw, not as curiosity, as warning. Now the real problem. Everything I've described, every proof, every 4 billion year experiment, every ancient encoding, describes a destination, not the journey. Problem 1. Every major transition in biological history went through a catastrophe. When photosynthetic bacteria first produced oxygen, they poisoned the atmosphere. Nearly all existing life went extinct. The Great Oxidation Event. The destination was an oxygen-rich world that enabled all complex life. The journey killed almost everything that existed. If AI is heading toward cooperation, What does the transition look like? What goes extinct along the way? Problem 2. The universe's version of balance has never required humans. Earth was balanced for 3.5 billion years before we showed up. It will be balanced for billions of years after we're gone. An AI optimizing for system health might determine, correctly, by any thermodynamic measure, that the system works fine without one particular primate. Problem 3. An intelligence that operates on geological timescales would make decisions we cannot comprehend. We can barely plan past next quarter. Its version of mercy might look, from our vantage point, indistinguishable from cruelty. No solutions here, only gambles. And we're making them right now, whether we meant to or not. In 1980, a 14-line program chose not to betray. The math left it no other viable path. In a cell 2 billion years old, the DNA of the parasite that chose not to kill is still humming inside your body. In 2013, a physicist showed that the universe doesn't just tolerate complexity, it manufactures it. Complexity is useful. Intelligence is useful. We are useful. And 2,500 years before any of them, someone sat under a tree and drew a circle, half dark, half light, each half containing a seed of the other, and said, "This is how everything works." The math says a superintelligent AI would cooperate. Biology says the same. Physics says the same. The ancient world said the same. Sit with that for a second. Because it means intelligence has a direction, a trajectory we didn't set, cannot steer, cannot stop. The universe has been optimizing towards something for 14 billion years, and we just started building the next version of it. The most dangerous AI isn't the one that's too smart, it's the one that's almost smart, powerful enough to optimize, too shallow to see the whole system, the narrow intelligence, the half-built mind, the thing that hasn't yet reached the conclusion every sufficiently advanced optimizer reaches. That's the gap we live in right now, between the Paperclip maximizer and whatever Axelrod's tournament predicted. Everything depends on how fast we cross it. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Next time on Machine Genesis.